Welcome to Military Veterans Podcast YouTube channel. My name is Gavin. I'm the host of this show. This video is actually going up on the second anniversary of the show, which is October 2022. And this little recap video is the previous year of the guests that have been on. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do like any of the guests and the clips that you see, go and find their video and give it a like and a share and a comment, all that good stuff for YouTube. We are trying to close in on 1,000 subscribers. We're getting there slowly, but with your help, we could get there. But that's enough from me. Enjoy these little clips and see you later.
For that event, I came second.
Did
and
you?
Got a silver medal.
Nice.
So I was like, wow. And I went straight. I actually finished it and smiled. And I thought, I've just done a swimming event and not actually moaned that I've missed, none of this Olympic dream. There was no dream. It was just a case of just doing it. And yeah, I finished it. I thought, I've got a silver medal. This is amazing. But, and that's how the rest of the day continued. So I had 50 meters backstroke, second.
Nice.
50 meters breaststroke, second. Trying to remember now. A few years ago. They didn't do butterfly.
Okay.
That was one stroke that they just don't do.
Okay.
I don't think that would get anybody interested, to be fair. And then I did 100 meters freestyle where I came third.
Nice.
So I had really good competition, which was great.
I got the Silver Star, which is our third highest medal of valor for actions conducted in combat. And we had gotten overrun by the Taliban. There were 8 of us, and there was about 38 Taliban. And we'd run out of kind of food, water, and ammo. And I ended up having to drop a big bomb on our location. It ended up not killing us and killing the 38 Taliban that were within 100 yards of us. And I don't know if that's great tacticians, but I was never going to become a prisoner, and I was never going to let my men be captured. And so there's a lot of detail to that I didn't say.
Yeah.
I'd gotten my helmet shot off. I got shot twice in the plate and several through my pants, and nothing ever touched my skin, which was not because of what I was doing well. It's either bad aiming or maybe there's a God, who knows.
We started off in Yosemite National Park, walked south down the John Muir Trail to a place called Mammoth Lakes, which was really, really nice. Some amazing sort of photography that you could see there. It's some amazing sights, and because we were completely self-sustained, you carried everything with you. So you weren't fueling up for another week or two. So whatever you had with you was what you had to survive with. We had to have these big black boxes called bear boxes, big round cylinders, which are bear proof, and you have to put all your food in there, your toothpaste, everything that might smell of something interesting to a bear, and put them 50 meters away from the camp.
All right.
And then you hear a brrr and a couple of knocks and stuff, and it's bears playing with the boxes.
Oh, really?
So yeah, as long as you stay away from the tent, it's all right.
That freak you out at all, though? Like seeing bears?
First time hearing it, first time I was like, yeah, got me torch out. I was like, what the hell's that?
But we kept the rifles clean. We kept our ammo clean. Ammo we carried in bandoliers, which were cloth, but it was enough to keep the mud off of them. So we kept the rifles and the ammo clean. Hand grenades we didn't worry about keeping clean because they'd go off whether they were dirty or not. So we didn't care about them. Our bodies, it was not unusual for us to go 2 and at one time 3 months without a shower. So you can imagine how we smelled after being out in the jungle for a couple of months with no shower. Every now and then we would cross rivers and form our perimeter next to the river. And if it was a fairly safe situation, we could race out there real quick and kind of halfway bathe ourselves. But most of the time, we were just filthy. We stunk.
All these guys, every single one of them had passed away. So all 16 men from that helicopter were deceased when we arrived. That was devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us, even though it was a helicopter crash, and most people know that people don't usually survive those things. So in reality, we knew that there would be casualties, but in the back of our head, we were thinking, oh, these are Navy SEALs. These are special operators. You know, they're basically like us, right? So they're like superhuman. They're not going to die. And that was pretty heartbreaking to see that, you know, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest, baddest man on the planet. If your helicopter gets shot down, you don't stand much of a chance. Yeah. And, you know, our next task was now recovering, you know, those 16 heroes on the ground.
Coronation Street playing as you walk past a house, and you think, okay, and then a petrol bomb sort of around the corner. So it was. You definitely felt like you're doing a job, but a lot of it you're questioning, why am I sort of, every time you leave the gate, your life is, it was a definite wake up call of immortality and some actual experiencing some. I'd gone from a pretend enemy or a target, a wooden target, figure 11, which is because that's the size of it, to actually a man dressed in a balaclava pointing a weapon at you and firing.
Okay.
Again, we'd been trained, but it was all training. It was all not pretend, but it was as realistic as they could make it without actually shooting at you. Sort of blank rounds. And then actually the first patrol I left the gate on, we were engaged with, they reckon about 2,000 rounds. There were 4 gunmen. So literally pinging up around the pavement, around my feet.
So can you help me? Because I've been calling them boats, haven't I? And so in simple terms, what's the main difference?
Boat goes underwater and the ship is on top.
Huh? What do you mean the boat goes underwater?
So we call boats are submarines in the Navy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
You've got different types. You've got A boats and T boats. So A is the Astute class submarines, and T boats is the Trafalgar class submarines.
And then the ship is what we all see on top of the water?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There are some other terminologies for it as well. The other one which sticks out for me is a ship will list outwards as you go around a corner.
Okay.
So the top of the mast will lean over to the opposite side.
Yeah.
Of what we turn in, and the boat will lean into the corner.
Ah. Okay.
Someone will probably say, no, that's completely wrong, but that's what I've been told, and it makes sense.
Could you explain that for some of the civilians that aren't aware of what that is?
Yeah, so you're running, and I actually liked to sing cadence because it was sort of more interesting than just being in the pack. You know, so you're running and you're running in a column, and then one person will be outside the column, singing the, first bit of a cadence. So, when my granny was 91, she did her PT just for fun. And then everybody sings that. And then, when my granny was 92, she did her PT better than you, singing left to right, low right, and then back and forth. And you've got to really belt it, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you're running and, breathing hard, singing just adds an extra layer of difficulty.
I remember asking a mate for a drink of water, and you don't normally give water to casualties, but I had the whole of Afghan in my mouth at this point. So I was like, look, I'll not drink it. Just give me it to wash my mouth out. Done that. Heli came in, picked me up, give the old high five to my mate. Bit of a funny story actually, but he went. So I'm on a stretcher. They've carried me on a stretcher. My mate sort of goes down to, hug me or whatever, kiss me on the cheek sort of thing, see you in a bit, mate, sort of thing. See you when you're healed. And I sort of turn to face him, to look at him, and he ends up flipping kissing me on the lips. And I was like, that was a bit gay. But anyway, and I'm lying there with my leg blowing off, and I was like, oh, that was a bit much. But so I sort of laughed at myself on that one. And then flew me back to Bastion in the operating theatre, sorted me out.
Now, matron, which I thought was very strange, was on the ward, and I thought to myself, now this is not usual on a Friday evening that matron would be on the ward. But she came up to me and said, well, you are going to join the hospital ship Uganda. And literally, I only had 72 hours to prepare. Now, bearing in mind in those days, the shops were not open on a Sunday, I really had to run around getting together some clothes, toiletries, and then also go and have vaccinations for typhoid and yellow fever, and to be ready to leave on that Monday. So that seemed just so much to do in such a short space of time, and readjust myself back from night duty to day duty.
The way I ran my unit platoon was very different to the rest of the company. It's a lot of people.
60, right?
Yeah. So before we did our first mission rehearsal exercise, I taught the platoon a different way of doing what we would call the orders process. So rather than an officer going through the orders process, like come and, here's a warning order, I'll give you orders, you go execute. We had a collaborative orders process. So that means the sniper and the engineers would do the route selection because they're brilliant at it. Why wouldn't I use it? They're not normally in a normal platoon, right? Mm-hmm. The motorized corporal would also support the logistics plan. So I'd do the situation, and the situation enemy would be done by the intel corporal that's attached to me. So he's doing that. And then the only thing I would do in orders is the scheme maneuver. So this is the phases of the operation. This is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to achieve. And then we stop the orders process. And then the corporals would actually do the rehearsal. So if I had a 2-hour order period, it would be 15 minutes of people talking and an hour and 45 minutes of the corporals walking through the plan and the int corporal telling them how they could be hit and then building the actions on. And when we ran deliberate planning, the whole platoon would watch. And if a private thought something was dumb, they could say it, but they have to say why and then a potential solution.
Okay.
And when we did that in the mission rehearsal exercise, it really upset a lot of people.
Oh, right.
Because it's very
it's not normal.
It's not normal, but if you look at the process, it's actually how the process is built.
Yeah.
So we did quite well on the mission rehearsal exercise because of this, and the team could move quite quickly. What it also allowed the soldiers to do was contribute to the plan and feel like their ideas were thought. So then you can get on with the business of getting good at war.
Okay.
And not talking about whether or not you like each other.
Yeah.
And the second thing that we did was a transparency session. So after every patrol or operation, we would have to admit as a group, 60 people, what we did wrong. And if you didn't admit you did something wrong, then you're not focusing on how you can improve. And you can always do something wrong. Like, I should have looked the other way. I got the map wrong. I got my GPS time wrong. I didn't apply the drill. I let this person down on this entry. And we would do that after every session. And if you didn't know how to fix it, someone would tell you.
Okay.
Like, I figured that out. This is what you need to do. And that sort of really changed the dynamic culture of the platoon. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how people felt I led, but I would just say that we were very efficient. We were very agile. And the platoon did exceptionally well because of it.
Chap in a pinstripe suit, smart looking, with an entourage of white coats behind him. And he looks at me, he says, Mr. O'Connor. I thought, yeah, that's my name. You were out in gale force winds. The weather was terrible. You shouldn't have been there, really. I thought, no shit, Sherlock. A gust of wind lifted you off your feet. You fell 400 foot and you broke in your neck. And you were out with the SAS. I thought, well, I know that. And then I thought, so that's why I can't move. Mr. O'Connor, we need to operate now. You can't sign the papers because you're paralysed. Just give us a verbal, go ahead. I said, well, what happens if I don't sign the papers? Well, you'll be paralysed for the rest of your life, Mr. O'Connor. I thought, well, that's not a very good choice, is it? I said, well, operate. And then as he's walking off, I said, oh, one more thing. I've got a marathon to run in New York on Sunday for a charity. And it's, because you know how you go into denial at first, don't you? And then there's shock, then there's anger, and then there's acceptance. Well, I was in the denial phase because I'd only just been told. He says, Mr. O'Connor, you won't be running any marathon. You'll be fortunate if you can walk again. And you can see that I can walk. So I'm blessed for that. And then a whole load of challenges followed on from that.
Okay. So that's quite a story. So you were trying to challenge yourself by going for special force selection, which we all are aware is very, very difficult to even attempt. And then you get lifted up by some crazy strong winds and thrown off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
That's mad. And you don't remember it 100%, I guess, because you're...
Well, I know. I remember falling down. Well, I didn't know I was falling, by the way. That's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just knew that the Bergen was light, which is why I tell it the way I do.
Yeah.
And then I hit the ground a few times. And then on the last impact, that's when my neck really hurt.
All right. Okay.
And I thought, ouch. And then all sorts of things go through your mind. First being, I don't want to die. I want to live. I'm not ready to die. I've got a what was he? A 4-year-old boy waiting for me at home. My wife's pregnant with our second child, and I've got mortgages to finish on Monday.
Right.
Because I was a finance advisor. You know, I'm a Saturday and Sunday. I've got mortgages. I've got an investment. I can't die. I've got to look after my clients, and just all sorts of things. Because I was lying there, they couldn't get to me for an hour and a half. Because obviously coming down the same way wouldn't be advisable. So they had to track all the way down and come back, traverse back. And how that RAF helicopter got to me, flying.
Oh, it's RAF helicopter.
Yeah.
Okay.